This is Pat O'Malley coming in live from the Keep Going podcast, Athletes Shining a Light on Mental Health, episode 26, technically, originally episode 24. I got Alexa Ben here. Alexa, what's going on?
Not much. How are you doing?
Everything's good. You enjoying your weekend?
Good. Yeah, I mean, can't complain about sunshine in Chicago finally. Good weather.
Couldn't agree more. Where are you staying out in Chicago now?
I am out in West Loop. Yeah, been there for about 2 years now. And I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Well, nothing better than summertime shy. I was out there for 2 years myself, and obviously we're from the suburbs originally, and we'll probably go into that a little bit. But
Yeah.
Alexa, before I go into anything, I want to be conscious of your time as well. Tell me something you did this week for your mental health.
So yeah, honestly, it's kind of a big goal of mine. I have started training for the Chicago Marathon.
Oh my
Um,
goodness. Love that.
So yeah, it's kind of been a goal. Want to cross it off, kind of the bucket list. So I've been getting into a lot of long distance running. And people might call me crazy, but I've been trying to do these runs outside with no music, no phone, kind of just my watch, and kind of just listening to everything around me. Kind of just being like a good headspace of kind of trying to get through that. So I'm trying to be phone free, music free, and just kind of enjoy running outside, being with nature, being with everyone around you, really listening, and kind of just getting in a good headspace from that, being
No,
free
no, I
from the
love that.
technology world.
No, absolutely. And in 2023, with the world being so, next thing, instant gratification, all that good stuff. I've never heard of anyone doing that. So being a runner myself, I ran some 10Ks. I run pretty much weekly. How have you liked that? Has it been a plus for you? It sounds like it's been a benefit.
I love it because I feel from working from home, you're either always on your laptop, you're always on your phone, you're always checked into something. Um, if you have a relaxed work from home job, you're either tuned into like the TV or something. So it's honestly been great. It's been a really great way to kind of get away from all that and get away from all the craziness of always having to be on your phone or always having to have like the status of kind of being on social media, like posting about everything. And it's not about that. It's just kind of
Yeah, so-
living how you want, being free, and being free of anyone around you and just kind of being within yourself.
No, I like that completely. And to stay on that train of thought, I think it's awesome. I'm going to try that on my next run, which will be tomorrow. So I appreciate the feedback already. But are you someone during the workday that, sits on do not disturb on their phone, or do you do any app limit stuff?
I try to. I definitely do have a timer on my apps because there are some times where I'm like, oh my God, I've been scrolling through videos for the past 35 minutes. What am I doing with my life?
I
um,
get it. I think we all do that.
I
No
think
big
we
deal.
all do that.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I know it's
but
something that,
yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
but yeah, I go on Do Not Disturb quite a few times when I know I want to get stuff done. And I can just put my phone down without any interruptions really. So yeah, it goes from here on out throughout Do Not Disturb and not, but there are definitely some times where I'm sitting there and I've been opening the same app for the past 5 times.
Nope, I get it completely. And we talk about it on the podcast all the time. Luke has recently, our co-host, obviously, he's recently gone the route of no technology after 8 o'clock. And I
Oh,
thought that was pretty cool. It's definitely made me start doing app limits and things like that. Reading, exercise, all the good stuff that we can do
oh
away
yeah.
from technology. So I'm glad to hear that we're not alone in that. And I think it's definitely inspiring that as a former athlete, you have a pretty big social media following. So for you to say that and be able to do that, I think it's super impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone deserves a break from social media. And honestly, at nighttime, you're not really missing much, like, especially during the week.
No,
So I actually
agreed.
think it's great to have a no technology rule after 8 o'clock or no phone rule and just like sit down and read a good book or sit down and if you live with your partner, talk to them or just drink tea or do whatever makes you happy. I think it's honestly a great way to get away from the world that we live in and just kind of focus in on yourself.
No, I
So
love that.
yeah, I do too. I wish I could be better at it.
I think it's a never ending battle, you
Yes.
against yourself. And Alexa, this is why we have you on. We're 5 minutes in and you're already preaching. So I appreciate that. And I know our listeners are going to get a ton out of this. So let's transition. So obviously, former D1 soccer player, played some international stuff, things like that. Tell the listeners why you're here on the podcast today.
Oh man. Yeah, like you said, I think I had a pretty successful college career. Yeah, played at DePaul for 4 years. Had some great memories. Also, probably, I think with any college athlete, they can say there was some really high highs and there probably were some really low lows.
Yep.
I think it's a roller coaster of emotions. I don't think there's a right way to handle everything, and I don't think there's a wrong way to handle anything. I think it's just kind of your own journey and how you create it.
Right.
Um, and I do think going through, especially even at a club level for soccer, um, our coach was really hard on us during those preteen years leading up into college, which is sometimes good and sometimes bad. It can either make or break you. And then go when you're into college, it's you either still love the sport and you can continue on with it, or you've had enough of it. And I've seen it both ways where one of my best friends, Kelly Hubley, who went to Elk Grove High School, with
Yeah.
you.
Shout out Kelly
Uh,
Hubley, Grenadiers. Yep.
um, she had just like looking at her journey, like she had a really hard time at Kentucky, switched to DePaul, ended on a great note, and is thriving in the NWSL. So I think it's your own kind of journey that you create out of things. And I had a pretty successful college career where, I got a little stint with the Chicago Red Stars. I did not do well. And I know that, but I got to go have an amazing experience in Austria, that I wouldn't trade for the world. So yeah, I got to play in the Austrian top league over there. Got to cross off like a bucket list dream of mine, which was for any soccer fans out there playing a Champions League game, which was pretty freaking cool. That was probably the highlight of my playing career over there, with making some best friends over there too. And it was a struggle at first, really. Austria is a very well German speaking language. I did not take any German classes at all. I went over there with no German and I was thrown in to just German practices always, just German all the time. Lived in kind of like a small country town, very different from the city of Chicago. I think the two biggest buildings in the town that I lived in was my apartment building and then the grocery store. And then
Wow.
there was just farmland all around me. So it was a really big change, honestly. And the first couple months I was kind of there like, oh my God, how am I going to fare? Like, I don't know, I don't speak the language. I can't read the language. And all my friends are in Chicago, kind of living, working real jobs and kind of all together. And, I was 8 hours away and kind of was just lonely. Um, so yeah, the first couple months were tough. But I just really tried to acclimate myself within the culture. Um, and I tried my best during soccer. I tried to be friendly, personable outside of soccer, which I think did help. And a couple months in, I was starting to catch on. I was taking German classes. I was visiting Vienna, the city, which was pretty close, like 45-minute train ride with some of my flatmates. And I just really tried on the outside of things, outside of soccer, to really immerse myself into their life, into their culture, which I think really helped me on the field.
Right.
Um, I mean, it took a while for me to even, let's say, play for the team, but I think that is due to not knowing the language and the language barrier and the playing style as well. So I really honestly tried more off the field than on the field because I knew that chemistry off the field would help me. And in the long run, it truly did. I made some great friends out there. Um, in terms of soccer, I started playing a lot more, and I was kind of valued as a starter towards the end of it, um, which was awesome. But the first 2 months was hard, and I just had to keep telling myself, you gotta get through this. You came out here for a reason. Just enjoy the experience and try to get the best out of what you're doing.
No, and I absolutely love your perspective and your experience, and very similar to a lot of our guests. You're super modest, especially in our area. I mean, you're
Pat, I think you cut out a little bit.
big deal. Like you're a big deal. I knew who Alexa Ben was. You just and I
Yeah.
remember watching you. Do you have me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. So what I said was everybody in the area knew who Alexa Ben was. It was the brunette out there making plays, and I didn't follow soccer much, but we came and watched you play at DePaul, and obviously I
Yeah.
followed your career just based on social media because you were an impact player from our area, very similar to Kelly. So it was definitely fun to watch from afar. Nice to know people supporting you, but that's besides the point for what I want to ask. I want to ask you were always the big fish, right? Coming out of the suburbs, going to DePaul, even some Red Star stint. You were still in the area. Tell me ways that you coped with maybe some of the isolation stuff, the loneliness, not playing right away, the language barrier. For our listeners, how did you get through that? Because it's super unique.
Yeah, I mean, in the first couple months when I was out there, I definitely would text my friends a lot, and I would call
Yeah.
them. I would check back in at home, because it felt like a safe space. And honestly, I think I was just in a very lucky situation, with one of my flatmates and roommates out there. Um, she actually from Austria, from the western side, Tyrol, and I probably said that wrong. If she listens, she'll probably yell at me later.
All good, all good. Shout her out. What's her
But
name?
so her name's Volley, and she has become one of my best friends, closest friends, till this day. We keep in contact even though we're live miles and miles apart. She actually played soccer in the US for like 6 or 7 months. So
Yeah.
she was able to learn English and kind of she understood what it felt like to go somewhere where you kind of don't know anyone
Mhm.
and you don't know the language that well. And so she really kind of basically took me under her wing when I was in Austria. She kind of made me feel like a family member. She brought me over to her house for a weekend with her family, and it was just so cool that she kind of knew the experience of her time in the US, so she wanted to make me feel like I was at home in Austria. So honestly, her friendship was what really, really helped a lot. And her family was amazing as well. We keep in contact with them almost like every month. I went out there last year to visit her. Um, and I think it was just having that one friend. Um, and then I was able to get close to another girl. And we kind of became this trio of friends that kind of just went out and did stuff. And that friendship really, really helped. It made me feel like I had someone there that I could go to and talk to. And that's kind of what I was saying was I know I wasn't doing super well on the field. So if I could try to do one thing off the field, and I kind of know that I have a bubbly personality where I can kind of get along with anyone, even if there's a language barrier. I honestly tried to do that more than play soccer because I knew soccer would come because it's yeah, it's kind of a new tactical game, but I've been playing soccer since I was 6. I That was gonna come regarding even the language barrier. It was always gonna come even if it took months or 2 months. But making friends, I think, is what really helped me, throughout the whole process.
No, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. I love that answer. And I think there's two big time takeaways. And for our listeners, I say it every week, but run that back. I mean, that's fantastic stuff. And the one takeaway I took away from it is something we talk about all the time. Your support system is so powerful, right? Like
Yeah.
it's it's tough though for athletes to be at their lowest or having struggles and be vulnerable and talk about it. But a lot of the reasons why we have this podcast is to allow athletes to speak up about this, that they're not alone. So your support group with your friends and family, amazing stuff. And the second thing, and this is something for athletes that might be redshirted, they might be medical red, they might not be playing right away, make an impact on the field, in the dugout, on the court. You don't have to be playing right away to make an impact. I think that's often a misconception. You can use that bubbly personality, Alexa, and really spark your team and really make a difference, even if you're not on the field. And when you get your number called, the only thing you can do is be ready and carry that same energy onto the field. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah. And I totally agree is you just have to be ready for your moment. It might not be now, it might come a year later or 2 years later. Uh, but yeah, I probably had a different college experience than most. I was lucky enough to play almost every game in college.
Right.
I missed a few for injury, but even when I was injured, I was on that sideline making sure that my teammates knew that I was there for them and wanted to be there for them, coaching them on the sideline, being hype about it, or I don't know, is that still a thing now?
Hype is still a thing. I work with athletes every day. Hype is still a thing.
um, but I agree. It's You don't have to be on the field making plays every time to make an impact with your teammates. And I think being on the bench and not sulking in your own, just kind of not sulking. It's gonna come. It's gonna take time. It's patience. Patience is a virtue. It really does mean like impact from everywhere. And I think that's a big thing. It's You can do the most that you can even when you're not playing, whether it's on or off the field.
No, I
Um,
love that. I love that because at the end
yeah.
of the day, being a former student athlete, as playing in some of these higher level games, it's like I don't remember a lot of the games, but I do remember the times with my teammates. I remember the memories, and some of the guys that will be standing up in my wedding were right next to me in that dugout when it was good, bad, or indifferent. So I think that's an
Oh
amazing
yeah.
message and something that our listeners will get a lot out of. Alexa, I'm loving this. I told you 15 minutes. We're well over that. So
That's
what I
fine.
no, I love it. I love your perspective. But what I want to do is every week I ask our guests their keep going moment. And if we've touched on your keep going moment already, that's fine. But give me your keep going moment.
Is this just in life or like in college sports?
Your episode, your call.
Oh man. Um, hmm, this is a tough one. A lot of things can keep you going.
Oh,
Um,
I know it. I know it.
I think in terms of sports, um, I think a lot of my friends knew that I didn't really want to play after college. Um, and didn't get, I kind of got pushed towards it, and I'm happy that I did. Um, because playing one more year meant that I could keep playing for my dad. Um, he was probably my biggest supporter throughout my whole soccer career. And I think he was really sad when that last college game happened. Um, so I knew that I had to at least try for one more year, and do that for him. And, I'm still playing in these social leagues and sport leagues. And every now and then he comes out, and he's like, "Oh, I miss watching you play." But I'm still playing and he loves it, but he definitely misses the college days, the club days, the youth days. Um, Maybe because he got to hang out with the parents and drink. But I would like to say it's because he liked watching me play. But I would say in soccer that was my keep going moment and why I really tried hard in college and wanted to do at least one more year for him.
Well, Lex, I'll tell you this. I'm driving back from Pennsylvania and I can't tear up while I'm driving here. So you can't go any further. Just know how strong that is. And I can tell how much your dad means to you and how great that is that he got to see you play more. And not only that, but have a great career, not only in the States, but internationally as well. And that's definitely something you should be proud of. And not only that, but the person that you are. So I appreciate that.
Mm, Thing. Yeah, it
Well,
was yeah, um, I'm I'm happy with the way everything turned out, and I couldn't be more happy about where my life is now. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, a goal of mine is to run the marathon, so I've been training for that. I think it's been keeping me in a good mental health space. It's making me get outside more. It's making me get rid of my phone, get rid of kind of all the garbage that we see, and kind of just really enjoy the nature and everything around you, surrounding you. Um, yeah, it's I can't be more happy with the way with things turned out. I'm grateful for sports. I think it definitely teaches you tough lessons along the way, and I don't think anyone who's played college sports wouldn't be the person that they are today. It teaches you a lot and how to get through things and just how to be better in situations. And yeah, it was a fun ride. I loved it.
well, Alexa, I appreciate you taking time and sharing your wisdom and your nuggets here. There's a lot here for our listeners, and I'll tell you this: shout out to all the Schaumburg guys that got us connected back in the day. I know Cole Reyes is supposed to come on in season 2,
Oh,
so
nice.
we're gonna keep the Schaumburg love going. But just know
Yeah.
you were the first one from the Berg, so I had to represent. So.
Thanks. I appreciate it. And also, I will say thank you for coming to the one game that you did.
Yeah, no, you played well. You had a
Uh,
header off the post at home that should have went in for a goal and it didn't. I'll never forget. But you played your
and
ass off. I
I
respect it.
I I remember the exact game. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, yeah. Some games you just remember, and
Yeah.
I remember I only went to one collegiate soccer game my whole college career. That was it. So
Well, I wish I would have scored, but we did
hey,
okay.
we get a chance to jump on a podcast and impact thousands of people. I'll take that any day.
Yeah, same here.
Alexa, do me a favor, drop your socials, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. Oh my God, I don't even know what my Instagram handle is. This is- I
No
will say
worries. No
no, I'm getting it, but I will say
worries.
when Luke did try to post like a shared thing with me, or maybe it was you with like the KG podcast, I'm like decline something. I'm like, what am I doing? Like I don't do this anymore. Um
It's all
that's
good.
how
It's all good.
I think my Instagram is just Alexa Ben. And that's kind of really the only thing that I use. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Perfect.
just Alexa Ben.
Well, Alexa Ben, you've made a heck of an impact today. I appreciate not only you coming on, but being a friend after all these years. And
Yeah,
I know our listeners need a lot out of this. So I appreciate you.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is fun.
Awesome.
It's a great podcast, and you guys are really helping people out, and I think definitely making a difference. I think mental health is a huge thing nowadays. And I think everyone needs to know that there will always be a support system around them, and they're not the only ones going through things.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, I appreciate you helping us end the stigma and keep going. Okay.
Yeah, you as well, Pat. Thanks.
Thanks, Alexa.